first part doesn't have any audio. You're welcome. Okay, so this is from our pre-spring break quiz. So we're gonna just walk through these together and check them and all of those things, and that's how we're gonna do this. Well, I'm gonna write the problem, so you don't necessarily have to. Actually, in fact, it might be better if you didn't, because then you can kind of see it with fresh eyes and all of that. So it might actually be better to not look at it that way. Okay. So the first problem is 4 1/3. I would. Minus 2 2/3. So to solve this problem, what are we going to do? We're going to stack it. Which one's going to go on top? 4 1/3 is going to go on top. And then minus 2 2/3. So what do we need to do now? We would. That's right. They already have one, right? So absolutely we should check for that first. And then since they have a common denominator, we're going to borrow. That's right. So we're going to borrow from which one? The 4. And what's that going to do? Turn into 3/3. So what is this going to turn into right here? You wouldn't subtract it. Because remember what we do is, figure out what goes there, you add the bottom number plus the top number. Right? It would turn into 4. Okay. So now what do we do? Okay, so 4/3 minus 2/3 is what? If you were adding, it would be, but we're subtracting. Oh, I didn't write that this turned into a 3, right? So what is 3 minus 2? So that's how to do that one, right? Let's look at number 2. Okay. Well, now you're knowing where you're making mistakes, so that should, if you pay attention to it, help you not make that mistake again. The next one was 12 8/5. This was that quiz that I gave to you a minute ago. 12 8/5 plus 6 2/5. What are we going to do? We're going to stack them. Which one goes on top? Well, it technically doesn't matter since it's plus, but we'll stay in our good habits. 12 8/5 plus 6 2/5. So now what? Which is? If you're, yeah. So 10/5. And then 12 plus 6. Yes, it is. I'm just guessing what you're saying. Yes. Yes, it does. Okay, so 10/5, we're going to need to convert that, right? So how do we do that? It does reduce, and it converts to a mixed number. Divide. 5 goes into 10 how many times? 2. So this ends up being 18 plus 2. So 18 plus 2 is 20. Our answer is 20. Excuse me. All right, number 3. You may. Four. Huh? That's okay. So the next one is 9 minus 2 and 4/7. So what are we going to do? It would be, technically, yes. It is. But we're not even going to do it that way. But it is that. What's the first thing we're going to do? We're going to stack them. That 9. We're about to do that. Okay. So what would we do next? We would be subtracting the fraction part, right? But we can't take away 4 from 0. So we borrow. That's right. So we're going to borrow from the 9, turn it into an 8, and then we end up with 7/7. So what's 7/7 minus 4/7? No. I got 7/7 because it's 1. It's actually the same thing we've always been doing. If there's nothing here, then this would actually be 9 and 0/7, right? Right? So when we borrow, we add these two numbers, and 0 plus 7 is 7, right? So it's actually the same thing we've always been doing. It's just kind of hiding and a little bit sneaky. That's not me being sneaky. That's math being sneaky. Okay. What's 7/7 minus 4/7?
A little bit sneaky can be applied as your personal
My motto?
problem motto.
Well, maybe so.
I mean, maybe not just
I do find a little bit sneaky problems to be particularly useful.
I mean, they're also funny.
What's 7/7 minus 4/7? 3/7. And then a minus 2. All right, last problem from the quiz was what do y'all think? Which scam is it? From Mableton, Georgia. Hello? You have? Nope. Didn't receive anything in the mail. Final courtesy call, you say? Oh, yeah, let's speak to somebody. Let's do it. Y'all ready? Okay, I have a 2025 Toyota Focus. Thank you.
What?
There you go. I'm a future man. You didn't know?
Also, what's a Toyota Focus?
Yeah, exactly. Toyotas makes Toyotas, and Focus is made by Ford. So,
Yeah,
great. And it's from 2025. But you didn't know that in the future, Toyota and Ford merge.
to make Toyota.
Toyota.
Romantic Ides of March.
Yeah. Everybody keeps saying one world order this. Yeah, that's what happens. All the car companies become one, and they end up running the whole world. Totally what happens. Okay.
Disney and Google,
Or the Twitter.
What?
or maybe Disney and Google make their own car companies, and then
No,
they
it's
run.
not Disney and Google.
Google.
That's not even right. Amazon finally buys out Apple because they go defunct in 2023.
No. Apple is great.
If you
Lies.
buy an Apple device, you're paying for the brand, not for the actual.
No, I bought.
That's only sort of true, but yeah, kind of.
It's good.
Okay.
It's actually trash, but it's
3 and 2/7 minus 5 and 6/7. So what are we gonna do?
I drew a question mark as my setting, apparently.
Apparently.
It goes.
Apparently.
It goes. You would stack it.
You would stack it. Which one's gonna go on the top?
5.
5 and 6/7. Negative 5 and 6/7. Now what?
Now you subtract.
6/7 minus 2/7 is
4/7.
yes. And then negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. Right? So how are we doing? We doing well?
I don't know how I did that wrong because that's really easy.
That's okay. I have said before, and I'll say again, I'm sure, that I don't care if you're confused now as long as you get it later. True facts. You don't have to get it immediately. I don't expect that. You shouldn't either. All right. Let's do some guided practices. We're gonna do some similar things, but we're gonna do them. Excuse me. But we're gonna throw in some X's in the mix. It's gonna be fine.
This is great. This is great. This is great.
So,
This is great. This is great. This is great.
G piece.
Right now.
No, you said it like at the top.
Number one. Number one. Negative 2 and 1/8 plus X equals 3 and 3/8. No, do an X. Maybe later.
Can we do a Pac-Man?
No, do an X. Maybe later. Ready, go. That's right. That's exactly right.
I forgot how to do these problems.
So you're trying to get rid of that negative 1 and 1/8. What would be the opposite of negative 1 and 1/8? Adding. So you're going to add 2 and 1/8 to both sides.
Oh. Okay. Would you cross 2 and 1/8, like negative 2 and 1/8 and positive 2?
Yes.
Does it matter if you put it on the side or on the bottom?
Put it on the bottom. Put it underneath it. Some teachers in textbooks putting it teachers and different textbooks teach you to put it on the side. I think that is a gigantic mistake and becomes confusing later. Don't do it that way. What? Like your intermediate steps, like, let me finish writing what I'm writing real quick before I forget it. Like those gold bits, some people say to put it out here. I do not recommend doing it that way. And since I'm getting you at this point in your math career, I'm telling you not to do it that way. Not only am I suggesting it, if I was getting you in Algebra 1, then I'd be like, okay, if you are like so stuck doing it that way, I would let you do it. But at this point, I'm telling you, no, do it this way.
Are we in pre-algebra?
Technically, yeah. Everything from like about 4th grade through proper pre-algebra is all pre-algebra. The classes kind of from about 4th grade through 8th grade-ish, depending. That grade number kind of could be 7th grade, could be 9th grade. It kind of depends. Sometimes, every once in a while, it could be 10th grade. But those grades, it's like the same math class over and over and over again, adding just a tiny little bit. It just kind of snowballs.
So you could just technically stop at 4th grade.
No, you could not stop at 4th grade.
I think he means like go from like 4th or 5th grade to
If you were like really great at it and that was your bent, you could. I would not recommend it because of maturation. So this problem should be x equals 5 1/2 as your answer.
I got that like as a variable. I got 4
Eighths?
over 8.
Good. And then you'd reduce it. Yep, that's right. Yeah, you're doing exactly perfect.
perfect.
Good job.
Perfect amundo.
Next one.
Perfect amundo.
Y plus 3 7/10 equals negative 2 3/10. Ready, go. Is there ever, sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
Like, is this possible? Y plus 3 7/10 equals x and like 2 numbers?
Oh, two letters, you mean? Yes, but if you do one with 2 variables, you actually have to have 2 equations to solve it. And you have to smush them together and do all this other hoopla. And it can take like pages of work to do one problem. It's great. It's called systems.
You say it's great?
Yeah, it's really great. You get to learn about little baby systems in Algebra 1. And then in Algebra 2, you get to learn about big old fat systems. And then in circuits, you get to learn about big systems that are so big that you really kind of want to do them with the computer. You can do them by hand, but don't. At that point.
Grade would learn systems.
In Algebra 1, and what grade you take Algebra 1 kind of depends on you and your parents. The quote-unquote typical grade, if you want to say the right grade to take it in, this is a stupid statement, but the right grade to take it in is freshman year, so 9th grade. But
The public school grade?
well, yeah, not just public school, but yeah. So, like that.
Why do they have, on that side, why is it both negatives? Because they're not different sign.
On the right side or the left side? What are you talking about? The right side, they are the same sign. They're the same sign.
Yeah, why?
Well, because this one started out that way, right? He was born this way, as Lady Gaga said.
I was gonna say, are you quoting a song or?
I am, in fact. And this one is plus. So to get rid of it, we've got to subtract it. So that's why that one's minus. She was is, I guess, a pop singer.
Disgusting.
I feel like that's like a value judgment on another human being, which I don't usually endorse making.
I mean,
Now, the meat dress that she wore was disgusting. I could agree with you there.
Yeah, it's a stain.
She's an interesting person and likes to do things for shock value. Although she's whether you like her or not, she's an amazingly talented artist. There are plenty of people that are talented that I don't like at all. So talent doesn't equate taste. Okay, so then your answer ends up being negative 5 and 10/10, which turns into negative 6.
I did right.
Okay, so why? Where'd you get negative what?
Well, you said to convert it to a,
Whole number.
yeah, a whole.
Well, this turns into 1, right? Yes. And then 5 plus 1 is 6.
The reason you got 6 is because you reduced.
Yes, so this turns into 5 plus 1, right? Because 10 over 10 turns into 1. And then the whole thing is negative, right? Let's do a third GP. Yeah. Did you know that technically, vowelless words are unpronounceable?
What words are unpronounceable?
Words which have no vowels.
What is a vowel?
A-E-I-O-U, and sometimes Y. Okay. How about let's do 6
Well, that's gonna be.
and 2/3
I don't speak English.
plus Z equals
What is a Z did?
3 and 1/3.
That is a Z. If you take the little line.
Ready, go.
That's a Z.
It's a Z.
Well, that's a Z. If you take the little line away from the middle, then that's a Z.
Okay, if you say so.
Sure it is.
I thought you would agree with me on that.
Big brain over there. Good job.
Your name is Mr. Fulkerson, but my name is Mr. Big Brain.
Okay.
Let's do a fourth one.
Mr. Egghead.
All right, that's gonna how I'm gonna address you as Mr. Egghead. Mr. Egghead. The rest of your life in public.
Or is it Mr. Robotnik?
I don't, go to the mall very often.
All right. A minus 32 and 12/17 plus A. Oh, I already did A. Oops, I already did that. Equals negative
I thought I have a thing called an eraser.
64 and excuse me 16/17. Ready, go.
Wait.
Wow.
How did I? Wait.
Accomplishments.
I got 32 and 2/17. Because isn't 32 half of 64?
Yes, but I don't. But
Wait.
the two you're still subtracting 16/17 minus 12/17 first.
Oh.
I see where your brain went, and that makes sense. But that's not the operation we're actually doing. But yeah, I get the wavelength that you're on. Makes sense. Yep. We're gonna assign some homework, and we're gonna assign a lot of it. So strap yourself in.
Alright. Buckle up,
Yeah,
everybody.
it's gonna be like these.
Is it gonna have numbers?
No.
You know, actually, eventually in math, that's a valid question. Because there's some times when you have math and there are no numbers in it.
Well, I'm not going to. How is it math?
Because math isn't just about numbers. In fact, mostly it's about logic.
Wait, you only do like that thing where you can add numbers?
Equals -3 3/5. Number 4. E plus 3/10 equals -2 1/10. Number 5. F minus 88 3/32 equals 672 and 29/32.
Yes.
Number 6. Cookie.
Milk has a frowny face.
It does not.
Don't make him take away the cookie, alright?
Cookie go.
Cookie plus 12 9/5 equals 63 and 12/5. Number 7.
My brother's always mad at me because
G
Because
plus 6 7/15 equals negative 3 18/45. And number 8, 2 2/3. Plus h equals 7 36/15. That's your homework, and you in fact have a few minutes to work on it now, so get started.
But on number 7, they don't have common numbers.
Also on number 8. I said probably.